New World is a brand new mmorpg game that's set to kick off August 31st of 2021, put out by Amazon Games. The closed beta is actually going on at this time from July 20th to August 2nd, 2021. So it's not a very long beta, only a couple of weeks. Hello folks, and welcome to a Wise Game video. In today's video, we're going to be going over to see if New World is the next MMO for you. Because I'm going to be looking at some details to do with the game that's very important, details to do with the UI and the foundation of the game. Which is topics which is not covered too much by other video creators and also websites. But before we move on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification below for more awesome videos coming your way. It helps supports the channel. The first thing I want to touch on is what really drew my attention to this game. The graphics, the landscaping, whatever you want to call it, the foliage, the weeds, the trees, the bushes, you guys get the picture. Looks fantastic in this game. Let's take a look. We even see them swaying with the wind and all that, just like in reality. The animals in the game look so realistic. The sky looks so real, the clouds, everything about this game, the eye candy is totally amazing. Now, before moving on about all the cool things and implements that New World has to offer, there is something very important that I think you guys ought to know. Because this is something that's not covered usually in videos, live streams, and even write-ups about the game. But it has to do with the UI system, which is the foundation of any great game. And this can make it or break it, where is this game really meant for you? Especially coming from the game World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft is a clickable game. It's not a wize when it comes to combat and all that, where most players today use key bindings. But I like to click on the UI things, opening up bags, eating food, drinking mana potions. Where in New World, it's a fixed cursor. You can't move the mouse around. It's kind of like playing a first shooter. So if you wanted to click on things, like I said, it's very difficult to do that. The only way you could do that I found is by hitting the escape key. If you hit the escape key, it's going to pull up the main menu of the game. Once you pull up the main menu, then you have freedom with the mouse and the cursor. But you still can't click on items to either eat or drink and things along that nature. So you guessed it, to play the game at a good playing level, you would have to use the keybinds, and there's tons of them. So not only are you using keybinds for the combat system, you're also using it for the whole game and the UI. Now I use dual monitors, and I don't even have the freedom of sliding my mouse over to the second monitor when I'm making videos or I'm researching something to do with the game. So I would have to hit the escape key first, pull up the main menu, then I have freedom to my second monitor with my mouse. So I felt that this was something very important, and that's why I took some time to actually tell you guys about this. Because when I first logged into beta yesterday for the first time, I logged right off. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I just wasted $39. Because when you pre-order the game right now, either on Amazon or in Steam, you get a 100% guaranteed invite to the beta. So, but on the good note, I did come back into the game. I says, maybe I'm rushing it. And I gave it a second chance, and I'm glad I did. The reason being is because I figured, well, for the UI keybinds, that's not a big deal. I'm not in combat when I'm actually using those keys. And when I am in battle, I'm using a Razer keypad, which is called the Tartarus V2 Pro. And let me tell you something, folks. I fell in love with the game. I couldn't stop playing it. I was so hooked. I haven't felt this hooked in a game in a long time. So anyways, that's it on the keybinds. I think I bored you guys enough with that, but I think that this is definitely important information that I wanted to pass along. Next, we're going to talk about crafting in the game. Crafting in the game is like professions are in other MMO games. The crafting in this game is one of the key features in New World. There are many players that are claiming they're only going to play New World for the crafting system. Now, I am not going to go into deep details when it comes to the crafting system in today's video, saying that this video's focus is mainly on the overall game and information. The gathering nodes or locations in this game is virtually everywhere. It's not like WoW, where if you're a miner, you actually go out to, say, a certain area or a zone, and there may be only 5 or 10 or 15 nodes that you find in that particular zone at that given time. In this game, however, they are everywhere. Like every couple of feet, you're going to find bushes, you're going to find trees, you're going to find so many different things that you could use for your gathering. And the cool thing is when you start doing a gather, like say the first time you start chopping down trees, it's going to add experience points to your leveling, which is really cool. But then of course, those experience points will start to lessen once you get higher in that particular gather. Now next, let's take a look at the overall crafting menu. So now we could see by looking at my menu, and I haven't discovered a lot yet because I'm only level 7 at the time that I'm making today's video. So we could see by this menu that there's 7 crafting skills. There is 5 gathering skills, and there is 5 refining skills. So for crafting, it would be things like weaponsmithing. For refining, it would be things like leatherworking. And for gathering, it would be things like fishing or logging. The crafting in this game is a very important part of New World. It's not like some MMOs, take WoW for example, where in some expansions, it wasn't really highly needed. It was just a way to sometimes make extra gold. However, in this game, you can make some of the best weapons and gear all the way through the duration of playing New World. And then there's also furniture. You can make furniture for your housing, because there is housing also in New World. So if you're somebody who really enjoys doing crafting in a game, New World is a new great option. Next, we're going to take a look at the game modes in the game. What I mean by this is the events that we could do in the game as a team or a group, which would involve dungeons, PvP events, so on and so forth. Now, many people feel that this game is more PvP driven, but by the research that I've come across, it seems like it has a good balance of both PvP and PvE. So I'm going to break down each category by either PvP or PvE. So I'm going to touch on the PvE side of the game first, which is going to bring us up to the dungeons, which in this game is called expeditions. There is expeditions that groups of 5 players can embark on, which again is very similar to dungeons in other MMOs. Now you cannot partake in these until you reach level 25 or above. Expeditions involves puzzles that you have to actually figure out to continue through the course of that expedition, with of course some challenging bosses, elites, and mobs. And just like most dungeons and MMOs, it usually involves a group of skilled players with enough damage, tanking, and healing to survive. At this time in New World, and I'm not sure if they're ever going to introduce these, there is no instant raids. So there is no actual raids in New World. So seeing there is no actual dungeon raids, we do have a large group implement, and it's called Invasions. Invasions is the largest PvE experience in New World, which will involve 50 players to defend their forts from the onslaught of corrupted enemies sieging the area. Players will have a range of weapons to help them fight off the enemies. with the ultimate test being the Void Destroyer. To win, the players will need to hold off the attack for 30 minutes, but if they're unsuccessful, their territory will be downgraded. Now it's time that we take a look at the PvP events in the game. And the first one on the list is one that involves both PvP and PvE. And these are called Outpost Rush. Outpost Rush is an endgame mode that blends both PvP aspects along with PvE. Two teams of 20 players face off, competing to maintain control of 3 outposts around the map. Along with capturing outposts and defending against other players, gathered resources can be used to fortify and build up the defense of the captured outpost. There are other objectives players can work towards capturing around the map that will also grant buffs for their team. The next PvP event is the largest PvP event. It's called War. This is made up of 50 versus 50 players, which they have to hold their fort for 30 minutes, while attackers look for a way to break down the gates and capture it. With the help of siege weapons to help in the combat, the winner will gain control of the territory. So far, I don't see too much when it comes to small-scale PvP in New World. I don't see anything about arenas yet or things along that nature. But there is World PvP. The World PvP is one of the top activities for New World, which does not involve a particular PvP server that you need to be on. This is actually toggled on and off, so you do have the option of getting involved or opting out, similar to what we see in WoW with War Mode. I really love a PvP game that's faction-based. And New World has 3 separate factions, or 3 different factions, which you have the option to pick around level 9 to level 10. These factions are the Marauders, also the Covenants, and the Syndicate. So I also advise that if you're looking for a guild and to play with your friends and all that, to make sure that you're all on the same faction. Now for a very popular and important topic, the combat system. The combat system in New World is very different from, say, World of Warcraft. But now keep in mind, I am just going by what I've learned so far playing the game, and I'm only at level 9. So for this video, I'm just be going over the bare basics to get you started if you decide on playing this game. New World does not have actual classes in the game, so when you first make a character, you're not going to have those options of a mage, a rogue, a warrior, etc. Believe it or not, it's based off your weapon choices. And of course, how you build up that character with skills, traits, and all the above. But there is ways of achieving certain specs in the game by your weapon choices and the way that you build your character. If you want to be a healer, if you want to be, say, like a warrior when it comes to DPS, and tanking. I did come across a great video that somebody did cover all about the weapons, how the system works, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to provide that link for you guys in the description panel of this video. So right off the bat, when you first log into the game and you're playing with the combat system, you're going to have the choice of switching between 2 particular weapons. Each one of those weapons is going to give you its own set of skills. So a perfect example here is take World of Warcraft with warriors and stance dancing. Well, it's going to work the same way in New World when it comes to your weapon stances or switching out your weapons. But starting off the game, you're probably not going to have 2 weapons. So we're not going to concentrate on that in today's video. But I will say, however, that we don't have, say, 20-25 bars that we need, or I should say slots, that we need to put all sorts of abilities and skills into. Each weapon, I believe, holds about 4 slots. Now, when you're starting off combat in this game, a lot of it is actually done with the mouse buttons, which will make it now where you could swing your weapon, shoot it, or you could actually dodge, parry, and block, dependent on the equipment that you're using. So if you have a sword and board, which is a shield and a weapon, you'll be able to do dodges and blocks. And basically right now for the fighting I've been doing, it's just basically pressing the left mouse button. As you press the left mouse button, you're going to go through the swings until your enemy is defeated. There is actually a little more involved than just that, because you will get certain abilities that you have to put into the slots and keybind those. Because remember at the start of the video when I explained, you cannot click on skills, attacks, or anything like that in this game. It's all done by keybinds. Okay, now next I'm going to go over some odds and ends in the game that's really worth mentioning. You guys are going to want to know about this stuff. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to give my feedback and feelings on the game so far, New World. So first up, is there mounts in the game? Can we get mounts in the game to travel through the world of New World? And unfortunately, there is no mounts in New World. I have heard that they are, or they may be considering this in a later future date. But they feel right now, seeing it's the first expansion of a brand new game, that the world is not large enough where we actually need ground mounts in the game. But I am sure that the player feedback's going to make a huge impact when it comes to this decision, because if we feel after playing this game for say 4 months that traveling everywhere on foot is getting a bit boring and daunting, they may have to take different considerations into mounts. But in the short note, there is no mounts in the game. But however, there is fast travel and recall in the world, which is a great system for getting back and forth to certain towns, cities, so on and so forth. That's instant. So if you came from World of Warcraft, the recall is similar to having a hot stone. And what you're going to want to do is just hit the M key for map. And for recall, the first time you come out to that inn, you want to speak to the innkeeper and pick the option saving your recall or whatever it's called. But note, there is a 1 hour cooldown on using your recall, so you want to use this wisely. And then we have fast travel. Fast travel in New World, you access by hitting, again, the map button, the M key. And then by opening up the map, you're going to hover your mouse over any other settlement, outpost, or spirit shrine, and choose the option to fast travel. And then the second option of fast travel is to use these items called azots. Once you have enough of these, you'll have another form of using fast travel. I will add the page that I'm getting this information from in the link section in the description of today's video so you can read all the information for yourself. And then lastly on the list when it comes to travel is housing. Once you start building houses, you're going to have the option of being able to get recalled or fast travel back to that house. So setting up homes in different cities or whatnot is going to be another option now of fast travel. So anyways, folks, that's about all the important implements that I could actually think of at this time. Of course, there are more additions to the game and a lot more to do. But again, I don't want to make a 2 or 3 hour video, and I also want to have items and also implements that I could cover in later videos. But this is definitely a good start to get you going into realizing what New World is about. Now, there is a few other things that I did almost forget to mention, and one of the most important things is what is the cap level. The cap level for New World is level 60. And also, if you do pre-purchase this from either Steam or from Amazon itself, you will get a 100% guaranteed into the beta. But keep in mind that the beta is soon to run out in about another week from the date of today's video. Now, my feelings and thoughts so far on New World in the beta version. And always keep in mind, because it is beta, that things are subject to change. of what I covered in today's video. But so far, this is what the internet shows when it comes to the information to do with the game. Now, at this time that I made this video, I am only level 10, so there's not too much I could really go into, but so far I could tell you the game has been loads of fun. And it's nice to learn something brand new again. It's good to see the excitement from the player base again. You know, people asking questions, people wanting to group up, to get that feel again. The only thing, as I mentioned earlier, that I have to get used to is jumping on the keyboard anytime I want to open up something to do with the UI. You know, like storage, things along that nature. Where in WoW, I always clicked on those things. But I did always use key bindings when it came to the combat system. And again, the combat system in this game, a lot of it's even driven off of just clicking on your mouse. And it is a non-tab target game, so there's no locking on when it comes to the targeting system for New World. So you gotta get kind of used to that too, lining up the bead, just like we would fire a rifle in real life. The way that we switch in and out our weapons is a unique feature that I haven't really played before in any other game. So the true test to me is going to be once we're level 60 and we play for a good couple of months and see how the player base holds out and see how the game actually goes. And I really love the idea that Amazon is the company behind this game. Amazon's got tons of money, as we know, and they put a lot of heart into anything that they're involved in. The graphics in this game is just breathtaking. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The way that the sceneries look, the wilderness, the rivers, the oceans. Everything about this game just looks fantastic. And most of the NPCs in the game, like quest givers or whatnot, most of them are all voiced. So overall, so far, the game has been loads of fun. So again, as I already said, time will tell. And that's about all I have for today's video. Thanks again for stopping by and watching Wise Gamer. I hope that this video helped you make up your mind when it comes to getting New World. And until the next time, you guys have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.